Hello, everybody, and welcome back to M&J Games. I am Michael, and I am super excited for this park tour today as I am joined by a special guest who's a big part of the Planet Coaster community and part of the console Discord. I am joined by Sonomatic14, and some of you might know that name because of some of the amazing creations that has been made on the workshop by
Thank you.
Sonomatic. Oh yeah, for sure, man. Such as Flora and Fauna and Island Expo Phase 1, and I believe he started to work on Phase 2. So, Sonny, how are you doing, man?
I am wonderful. Please just call me Eric. Sonomatic is a very old username for me, and unfortunately, it's very hard to change it on PS4.
Oh yeah, believe
So
me,
it seems
I've
like that's what a lot of people know me as. If, but just call me Eric if you can. But hi, I'm doing great. I've been looking forward to this for so long, and I cannot wait to look at these parks with you, Michael.
I appreciate. So you kind of gave it away there, Eric. We are actually looking at two parks today, as this creator named Doctor Ost, I think is how you pronounce that. It's Doctor Dash OSTE 68, and this is called Movie Planet Park and Resort. And so this creator is so detailed with the creations that one map is not enough because of the Oswald counter. So we're actually looking at two because this one was released earlier in 2001, and part two was actually released about a few weeks ago. So really excited to take a look at this. And the detail
Hmm.
basically says movies like Minions, Hollywood Studios, and Batman: The Dark Knight. And there are two coasters, one dark ride, a hotel, and a 4D cinematic, and four flat rides. So before we get started, just kind of in an overview, Eric, what are your kind of initial thoughts of this park?
I think it looks gorgeous. I want to make it of note that everything in the Minions part of the park is yellow. Like, I think
Yeah.
that that's pretty cool. I'm loving the Batman right there and the Riddler question marks off to the side, and just
Mm-hmm.
the general studio aesthetic with the Hollywood Tower out there in the distance and that rocket look-alike coaster back there. It just reeks of Universal Studios, Disney's Hollywood Studios, Disney Studios Park Paris, all of those wonderful kind
Mm-hmm.
of Hollywood and New York City and studio styled parks. It just oozes of that kind of energy, which I love. And I love
Absolutely.
the floor, the flowers and the rocks and the architecture is so varied and colorful. It just looks incredible.
For sure. And it's funny you said the Rip Ride Rocket look-alike because that's what I thought too when I saw that. Is, oh, it looks like Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket. So let's go look at the entrance as we've kind of seen a good overview there. And I just love kind of the like you talked about the rocks before, just how this creator kind of made this entrance. Man, it's just it looks amazing.
I know people create their own, what's the word, fonts for
Yeah.
the parks, but I don't see why people do it so often when you have this perfectly gorgeous vintage lettering right there. Like it
Yeah.
just looks so good. You can't go wrong with it. And I love how on the tops of the buildings you have the camera and mic crew.
Oh, for sure.
Uh,
That's a cool thing.
so it's a kind of a thing where you can see the facade as part of the movie magic, which I
Mm-hmm.
think is very accurate to how movie parks are made in real life. That's kind of the gimmick, and the
Yeah.
way that in real life they make it cheaper to make, that they show the facade. But I think that kind of realism in the game is really cool.
Yeah, it's absolutely cool. And I mean, it definitely gives me Universal Studio vibes. Man, look at that. Even the water towers, yellow
Golden.
or golden. Yeah. Do you like Minions? Because Minions are awesome.
I I tolerate it.
That's okay. That's understandable.
I
That's funny.
definitely have to tolerate it because that's where I work. So
Yeah. Yeah. And Eric does work at a theme park, so he's got a lot of knowledge in that area and how that kind of stuff's set up. So it's always, you're always one of my go-to to kind of ask questions about theme parks and stuff. So love that. And we were just talking about this before when we were looking around another park, just how cool these Chero swings or whatever they're called in the game look, especially from like guest view. It just gives a great line of sight.
yeah, it's perfect for when you're first entering a park. A lot of usually out of habit, I'll default to a regular carousel just because
Hmm.
that's what it's usually like in a regular theme park. But these are just so much better for like just how they look when you first walk in, and and I'm sure everyone is like, I want to go on that first, and
Oh yeah.
it's just a gore. I think that and the Max Air style of
Oh
um
yeah.
giant frisbee rides are the best looking flat rides in this game.
Agreed. I agree. Those giant. Well, that one, and then I love the hammer swing too because it takes up a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
space and it just looks so cool. But yeah, you agree. I mean, this, or I agree with you, man. The architecture here, like every building looks different, but it all kind of fits and aligns, right? Um, and oh, we got a ride here. Oh, this is actually the Minions ride. Okay, I was not expecting it. The entrance to be right here.
The
The
guest flow
custom.
is a little bit congested, but
Yeah.
that's okay. It's not a real park.
Yeah, I think, well, that's just tough to do sometimes too. It's like, if you don't make paths wide enough, they get congested. And then they get congested sometimes in areas that you don't expect it.
I was actually riding the Minions ride a couple of weeks ago, and it's just a spitting image.
Okay, see, that's cool. See, I guess it's been so long since I have been, to one of the Hollywood Studios type parks where I just honestly forgot this was even, or didn't even know this was a ride at one of the parks. But
It
obviously it makes
is.
sense. So,
It's just not a spinning coaster. It's one of those screen rides. That is a funky looking minion.
yeah. Oh,
I
that's. I'm trying to remember I'm trying to think which one that would be. But I just love the detail in this station. I mean, it's using the sci-fi pieces, which I feel like are kind of tough to use sometimes. And then you got the wires up there. I just think it's really well done. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts before we ride the coaster?
it definitely looks how in the Despicable Me movies, Gru's his laboratories are so ratchet with all of the wires going everywhere, and nothing really makes sense. And obviously, when you have a bunch of wacky yellow Tic Tacs running around, it just gets more chaotic. And this just captures that energy perfectly well. I
Oh,
think the
for
sci-fi
sure.
pieces fit it perfectly.
And then I love the arrows. I think that's a cool touch. Um, so let's look at the stats on this. I mean, it's a spinning coaster, so you don't really expect too much with the stats.
You
Um,
can't really get the stats on these coasters too well.
yeah.
And the
And then now,
unfortunate thing about these rides is that the capacity is just so awful, and
yeah.
you can't do anything to fix it, which is why the queue for this ride is spilling out onto the path, and that's just really unfortunate.
Yeah, agreed. So let's go ahead and take a ride on this coaster. All right, so we just got off the Minion coaster, and one thing I want to point out before we talk about the actual coaster that I love what this creator did is I don't know about you, Eric, but to me, like it gets really, seeing the longer stations just don't look good, right? And for this spinning coaster, if you don't want to have a lot of crazy block sections, you got to have a long station to be able to have an adequate amount of spinning, like actual trains on the track. But they hid this really well with all these sci-fi pieces to where you don't realize how long the station actually is that they
Yeah.
had to use. So I thought that was a really kind of cool touch that you really don't notice. And I know you mentioned the lights in here. So what are your thoughts on the coaster?
I think that the theming was very good. I like the tiny little dark ride section was really cute, and the
Mm-hmm.
enclosed lift hill I thought was neat too. The minion figures are really cute, to be
Yeah.
honest. I
Yeah.
think that they really of all of the little character figures in this park, they really nailed the minions, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And the ride layout is just perfect for this kind of coaster. It's just enough spinning, lots of airtime hills, some turns that are banked just enough so that the spinning doesn't go crazy, but unbanked enough that you do get some good spin on it. And the way that it goes over the rides and it goes through that building there at the end and it goes over the plaza, it's just
So well
This
done.
is I think this is the best of this specific kind of spinning coaster. I think this is the best one I've seen in this game.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I was I record the on-ride POVs separately just because when we share play, the audio from in-game doesn't really come through. So we were kind of talking a little bit as the coaster was going, and I was just amazed at the end of it. Like I was just expecting some crazy spinning because the vast majority of them, like it's so tough to control the spinning. But this was insane, like how perfect the spinning was to where, like you said, it's not too much, but it's enough to kind of give you some different experience some elements different, you know?
Now, if they wanted it to make it more accurate to minions, the spinning would have been insane for the whole ride. But
Yeah, I can't
showed
speak
a
out of
little
experience, but
restraint, show a little restraint, and I think that the spinning is perfect on this. And I just noticed that I think this coaster has custom supports.
yes, it does. I would say maybe adding some kind of support piece at the top of it,
Yeah,
to where it connects to the track. But that is kind of cool because you're right. It does, with it going over the path, I'm sure all the supports kind of got automatically deleted. So that's a really kind of cool
yeah,
idea of, and I do like the exposed because sometimes you will see this where manufacturers are basically just like, oh, well, forget it. We'll just put a post in the path and people will walk around it.
yeah. It's
So,
definitely very park accurate. I do have one critique.
hmm
Um, since you know how minions they're yellow, but they have the blue overalls.
yeah.
I really think that it being all yellow is a little oversaturated, and that the supports could have been a darker
Mm.
blue.
That's a good idea. Yeah, that's a cool, or even some blue in the coaster train as
Yeah,
well, or like the middle of the
but even
track, something. But yeah, that's a
I
good
think
good
that's a
idea.
total. It's a total nitpick.
Oh yeah.
Total nitpick. That's
Well,
just the only thing.
yeah, that's the thing. Well, and it's kind of when you do these park tours too, you want to kind of point out like stuff you notice, and sometimes we have to nitpick to find stuff. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean this looks awesome. Just
the pl-
walking around
the
gets view.
the plant
Go.
arrangement looks incredible in this park.
Yeah, it really does, and that's something I've really tried to take some cues from Jasmine on, and seeing some of your work as well. Because I think Jasmine got some inspiration for playing stuff from you too when we did Flora and Fauna way back in the day. um, gosh, that's weird,
Back in
so
olden
weird.
days,
I know, back like 6, 7 months ago.
the
Back in the
competition for really good parks has really gone up since then. Because when I was a new creator back then, I was looking at the workshop and I'm like, this is all garbage. All of these
yeah,
parks stink. There's no,
my parks were terrible, so you probably saw some of mine.
I,
But yeah, no, I
but
agree. Go ahead.
this, I have nothing left to see. I think it looks great.
Yeah, it does look great. So we got this little minion spot. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense why the parks have continued to get better. As you think about watching people on PC, I mean, they've had 4 or 5 years to perfect their craft and get better and improve. And so we're right now at a year. So like it, this
That's a
is
cute seating area.
yeah, this is really
Is that a
cool. And
restaurant or is that a
uh,
hotel?
restaurant, Movie Planet
Movie Planet
restaurant.
Restaurant. It's That's another critique I have for this section of the park is that the yellow font is very hard to read.
Yeah, it's. I think it's fine on there, but on here it's super tough. So like that's one where
Yeah,
you could use the, like, what if we made this font blue, um,
or
or
made the
even
background black.
yeah, or even just the trim around. But even then, it's still
Yeah,
tough to see. So you can make
I think the
the
trimmer makes it a lot better. I think the text being all yellow is a little makes it really hard to look at.
yeah. You could even do something like that. Just kind of bringing in that other minion color like you talked about.
I
Um,
love the train going through the building there. It
yeah,
totally
that's
reminds
cool.
me of Rip Ride Rocket towards the end of the
Mm.
ride where it goes through the Ghostbusters building. I think that's really cool.
Well, and one thing I really appreciate too is because it's so tough sometimes to like the building in this game is amazing, but it's also really tough sometimes if you're wanting to do things that aren't necessarily a box or square, right? And so when you have something coming in at an angle, it can be tough like that. But just maybe inside could obviously have a little more detail, but at the end of the day, like you're in there for a half second, but yet having
Yeah,
these pillars on the outside is just adds that, just it makes it look so nice and clean, right? where you don't see the edge of that build piece, right? You don't see it like that. I mean, it just adds
Yeah,
that
it looks so
detail.
much
Is
better with the column.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
I
and
think we should move on. We are
yep.
spending a lot of time on this one ride.
Yes, it is really, really well done though. So as we saw this area, once again, the nice floral arrangements. Um, so we want to go to California
I
and
think that is the next area over because we got one more major ride in this section before we get to
on
there.
this section. Oh, okay, over here. Yeah, I forgot the Batman 4D cinema, Gotham City. So now I know this was. I think this was actually created by Celium on the workshop because I know he created a Batman figurine. Um, And so this is like it's just really cool though how oh that's a cool bat.
Yeah, that does look good.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, just being able to kind of section off the park to where it looks natural to kind of move from one concept to the other. Um, so this is the hotel.
Hotel. That's cool. That's
Oh, okay,
really neat.
cool. So it's got like a oh I didn't even notice this to be honest. So this is like hotel parking for guests. So you've got this whole kind of parking section here for the hotel.
That looks great. The way the slanted parking spaces are so accurate.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's cool. And then I love too the detail of the fencing here. Like it's got that, as our European friends say, "Don't die fencing." But it's also it looks more kind of nice and done up just from having the little planter there. Um, that's really cool. What does this say over here? And then we'll entrance for the winter. What does it say?
Winter
Winter
season.
season. Okay, cool.
On the left over there, they have a quote entrance to their indoor DreamWorks park.
Okay, right here.
Yeah,
Okay. Oh, that. Oh, we'll get to that in a second because I think that's part of the California area. But we got the nice hotel here.
that looks
Um,
gorgeous.
yeah, it looks really
That
good.
is totally Americana, California,
Yeah.
and it looks. I want to point out it looks so much different on the other side
Mm-hmm.
because
That's
you're
just what
looking
it's.
at it from the Gotham City point of view, but when you're looking at it from the parking lot, it blends in with the California section, so they make the facade different on the other side.
That's a
I think
great
that is
point.
such a cool detail and so accurate to how parks are made in real life
Yeah, very
when
true.
you have limited space.
Yeah. Well, it's very interesting looking at like the Google Maps pictures of like Animal Kingdom because you see the Expedition Everest is like a third of a Everest mountain, and then the backside's nothing,
Yeah,
which obviously makes sense. So let's see, let's
it,
get
it
on
makes a
this.
lot of sense because Everest is one of the most expensive attractions ever made,
Yeah,
and
100 million.
so if they made that whole mountain, it would just balloon out.
Yeah, agreed. Oh, this is one of these rides. Okay.
I love the bats in the rain in this.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cool set piece, I think.
And it looks a lot better at night.
Yes, it
um,
does.
yeah, that is cool.
That is a lot of rocks. That is a lot of rocks to place down.
Yeah.
That would take ages. I don't know if I think I would just do terrain at that point.
Yeah, agreed. Or just honestly copy and paste them. Or I'm like, I don't care that it looks copy and pasted. So it's impressive to make them all look different. But I do love these space pieces that they have, or I guess the colorful panels
The
that you can turn into
panels.
a space. Yeah. Oh, they're caught in fire. Looks like.
That penguin doesn't look very friendly.
No, I don't think
Oh, we're
penguins
flipping
that
a little
friendly in
bit.
real life. Yeah, so how tough was it to design this style of ride? Because like I said, I've never made one of these before.
There are so many axes of rotation. Like you can flip it left and right, up and down, make the train spin, make it pivot in different ways. It is so difficult to get it to point
Hmm.
where you want it to go, and at the same time make it exciting.
Right.
And it is so much tougher when we are on console and the moving circular screens. You can't change them. You
Yeah.
can't change the images, so they just look awful.
Yeah.
You,
That's
you gotta really you got to really work your butt off to make a good version of the robotic arm dark rides.
I mean, that was cool though. Like, I think there are some scenes that I think kind of staring at a wall, but in general, I think the kind of scenes that you actually visibly see were pretty cool.
I think that I will give them a pass just because of how difficult that kind of ride is to build. But there are a lot of sections where there's something you're supposed to be looking at, but the arm does not point you to look at it in that
Yeah,
direction. And you're just kind of slanted to the right the whole ride, and there are parts where you stop and look at nothing. I think I think the facades for this ride look a lot better than the ride makes it out to really to be. Because when you get
right.
on it, there isn't really a lot of Batman on the
Yeah,
ride.
yep. I think that's maybe why I haven't really dived into making a dark ride too much because like the amount of time and detailing that needs to go into it is just insane.
Yeah,
Um,
dark rides they're very time consuming.
yeah, and then I mean, how about this lighting? Like this, does this not scream like Hollywood?
Hollywood.
Yeah, all the lights, the strobe lights. I mean, and everything looks. I mean, okay, so you're one of the lighting experts. Like to me, I always kind of make lighting secondary, light it up just enough. But what are your thoughts on how this is lit up?
It it looks like a studio's theme park. It's lit up everywhere. It's very brightly lit.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like
well
it
done.
the gold like the golden shine and the lights flying
Hmm.
everywhere. I feel like it's a little bit overdone in terms of the moving lights.
Yeah,
It's a little bit of an attack on the senses, but I think it's okay. I, that's just a
yeah.
nitpick in my opinion.
Well, I think because it's a movie park, they can get away with that.
And they
um,
can't. I'll
yeah,
let them get away with that.
yeah, I like it though. So this is the Riddler's Revenge. So this is a little flat ride. Yeah, I mean, I think this is such a cool. I mean, overall like fairly simple to make, but yet it's such a cool kind of design.
I
Um,
think they could use some lights on them, like a
yep,
purple light on that one and a green light on that one, but
yeah. Maybe they just didn't want to have any different colored lighting other than the kind of yellow that they've used or kind of golden look.
that's valid.
Would be my guess, which in that case I can understand. But so we got one last area to look at. So let's look at this area in
At
the
day.
daytime. Yep. Um, Usually I tend to look at parks during the day unless it otherwise specifies, or unless I can tell that hey, this is like for instance your flora and fauna, like that's meant to be a night park. And same thing with
Yeah.
Island Expo, which doesn't mean
Yeah,
you don't look at it during the daytime, but
I love flora and fauna during the day, but it's just a whole nother level when you turn it to nighttime, I think.
yeah, for sure. I mean, this is just cool too. Just great view of the coaster. A lot of path interaction, which I love.
Mm.
This is yeah, that's cool.
That
Um,
that
s-
just screams Rip Ride Rocket with the multiple brake runs.
oh yeah, don't they have like how many brake runs do they have? Is it two, or is
One,
it like
two, three, four.
gosh, like that doesn't
Four.
even make sense.
It does make sense when you see how tiny the cars are.
I guess that's
They
true. It's,
they only seat 12.
wow, yeah. I mean, and
Yeah.
especially being at Universal, I mean that place gets crowded. So,
Yeah.
um, gosh, I love this walkway. Like, love this little fence around the edge too, kind of separating the sections of the park, and then just the building pieces that are carrying that style for Hollywood Tower. You got the movie thing here. Really,
That's a cute little
yeah,
scene right there.
yeah, for sure. So it's called Hollywood Ride.
Definitely less of a mouthful than Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket. I will
Yeah.
commend that.
Oh, look at this.
Ooh, you don't see a lot of chandeliers in this game, honestly.
Station. Love the train lockers there, and I like how it's numbered. You normally don't. You normally don't see them that tall. You normally more see them kind of more have more of a width to it or more wide. But I kind of like how it looks for this ride. Let's pause
I
that
like
one.
how
So,
it looks.
yeah, I do
I
too.
have actually been to Hollywood, and this is just the aesthetics for this part of the park are just spot on
Yeah,
with that
yeah, for sure. So hot seat or hot set.
on set.
All right, so let's go ahead and look at the stats real quick. I don't want to click on her. There we go. Hollywood Ride. G forces, not bad. Biggest drop, so it's a little bit bigger, obviously, than the Minion coaster. Let's see how many inversions. 3 inversions. So let's take a ride on the coaster. All right, so we just got off the Hollywood Rocket, I think, or was it just called the? I always
Hollywood
forget names.
ride.
Hollywood Ride. There we go. Okay, see, Rip Ride Rocket was and the one I was thinking about. I thought it was a good coaster. I thought it was smooth. Definitely gave me Rip Ride Rocket vibes. And what are your thoughts?
This is definitely my favorite attraction at this park.
Mm-hmm.
The the Schwertes Kiernan style. Yes, I can pronounce that. You're welcome. Lift hill that goes straight up through the building and then drops out the other side is incredible. The lighting is
Yeah,
great. The helicopter, and then the rest of the layout is so exciting without there even being any inversions technically,
yeah,
because you got that the non-inverted loop and those brake runs and the helixes and the airtime hills and the transitions and all of the landscaping with the water and the rock work and how the water kind of follows the track.
mm-hmm,
I think that and how big the layout is and how it goes over the paths and the trees and the architecture, it is just
yeah, amazing.
it's perfect. Definitely a very good homage to Rip Ride Rocket, but at the same time improving upon it by having less brake runs and more
Yeah,
airtime.
correct me if I'm wrong on this, but like you said, seeing the all these rocks and just kind of how the water kind of follows the coaster, it gives me some Maverick vibes. Like obviously not
Absolutely.
honestly not the same kind of coaster, but you've got a lot of that rock work on Maverick and some water right there. So that's what it kind of reminds me of, and the color
Like
too.
after the second launch where you come out and the
Mm-hmm.
water jets go boom boom boom.
Yep.
I love that.
Yeah, and I mean smooth coaster too. So and
Yeah.
that's one thing too. Like I mean, you and I are
Yeah,
kind of in the same boat with that.
I have no gripes with the smoothing for this coaster. It looks great.
Yeah, fantastic. And I love the little because this coaster is smaller, you can do a lot of those more smaller airtime hills that aren't necessarily like parabolic in a sense, or
Yeah.
maybe look like okay, that might be too tight, but it's because there's like what 4 trains instead of 8.
I
Um,
think that's one of the advantages of having a mid-course brake run on your coaster is that you allow yourself to have that second half that's a little more unhinged with how tight the turns and airtime
yeah,
hills are.
for sure. Where it's not pulling too many G's and stuff.
Like you get that big first half with the big elements and the big hills and the big
Hmm.
inversions, and then you can have that second half that's really low to the ground.
Yeah. Gosh, it's just such a beautiful and well done park. Um, and then yeah, like you pointed this out earlier. So this is the entrance to what would be like the Dream World Park. Is that what you said, or Dream World section of a park?
It's just like the DreamWorks indoor park. Download Movieplanet Indoor to explore the world of DreamWorks.
What? I didn't even know he had a movie playing indoor. It might not be on the workshop anymore. Because believe me, I've looked at this guy's page and I haven't seen that. So, or this creator's page. But yeah, I'll have to do some try to find that because I definitely want to see this this person make an indoor park.
You
But
definitely don't see a lot of indoor parks on console.
yeah, or in ones that are really even just honestly adequate and well done. So
Yeah,
I don't mean that to be mean, but it is like it's just super tough to make an indoor park.
trust me. Trust me, Michael, if you look at the new stuff that comes out on the workshop, especially earlier in the game's life, it is
Yeah.
tough to find a park spotlight worthy theme park.
Yeah. For sure. But yeah, so this was part one. So we're going to go ahead and move on to part two. So we'll see you over. I think the entrance to part two is actually um I
Here.
think it's this way. Yeah, I think this is what it's meant to be. So we'll see you at part two. So now here we are in part two, and right away we see a B&M invert. Or no, that's a flying
Actually, that looks
coaster.
like a flying coaster. We were just talking about those.
And we're talking about the pretzel loops and how intense they are, and then the rest of the ride's pretty
How?
tame. Go ahead.
Oh, that looks. I love that.
Ah, this look is amazing. This is like, this gives me like Jaws or like kind of,
I was about to say like Amity Park or whatever it's called in that.
yeah. Oh, this is
Back
cool.
before they replaced it with Harry Potter, but
Oh, okay. So let's actually, let's go to the right first. Because I
yeah.
have looked around this a little bit, not too much detail, but
Oh man,
I think you're gonna like this part because this is really, really well done.
I am already liking this more than part one.
Okay.
Wait,
Yeah.
is that the Krusty Krab?
So we got Bikini
Oh,
Bottom.
oh, you've I'm already hooked by this one.
So this is the Squids ride. So I guess this is a flat ride, I think. I mean, look at
Oh,
the
this is.
rocks too.
I love this cue. That is so cute. I
And
love that.
the bubbles kind of give it the look and sensation that you are actually underwater.
You're like in an episode of SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks incredible. That's
Oh man.
amazing.
Wow, that is like it's something that's so simple, just placing rocks, but done in such a well like a oh man, this is just amazing. And then those
That is.
jellyfish.
I love how they're not floating. They're like on the oh, they're like on the support. You know what
Yeah.
this reminds me of?
What?
Like the Little Mermaid area at Tokyo Disney Sea.
Mm. Okay.
That's what it
I haven't
reminds me
seen yeah, I haven't seen that, but I mean I could just imagine how with how Disney themes up their areas, how amazing that is. Oh, look at that SpongeBob.
of. Oh, is the Krusty Krab? Is it a restaurant or is it like the station?
I think it's actually a restaurant, which
That,
is
that's
fits
that
perfectly.
looks so good. That looks so good.
Yeah, and I mean just made out of basic shapes, and it's well done.
I mean, you gotta
Um,
do what you gotta do.
hmm I mean, this just looks just like it. This is great. Oh, and then you can see the coaster track kind of going
Having
right beside it.
that is so good. Having a SpongeBob area be a kids area is just so perfect because those are the kinds of people who are gonna want to come here.
Absolutely. So Gary's Adventure. Who's Gary? Why am I forgetting who Gary was?
SpongeBob's pet snail.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, dude, it's
See,
been
there he is
years.
right there.
Okay, that
Very
makes
good.
sense. It has
I
been.
love I love the rock work on this queue. I love it going under the coaster too.
I mean, this is so well designed. Like, I mean, the other park was amazing as well, but I kind of agree with you, kind of as we kind of see more detail. Which I mean,
This is
this makes. Oh, go ahead.
a total glow up, I think.
Yeah, and
Like the
what I
helix going around SpongeBob, that is so good.
it looks amazing. But then it's kind of like what we were talking about earlier. The first park, if I'm remembering correctly, I think was on the workshop last May, and this just went on the workshop this year, like early January. So it's like that's eight
Can
more
we
months. Yeah,
can
go
we
ahead.
stop for just a second? I want to point out a cool detail. Look back at
Okay.
SpongeBob again on the back of him. So when you ride the Haunted Mansion, there are these these bus statues that look like they're following you, but
Okay.
in reality they are inside out. So
Right.
it looks like from when you're looking at them, they're pointed outward. They're pointed outwards at you. This is like the opposite effect. Hit
Yeah.
SpongeBob's his sponge holes, if you will, are pointed outwards, but because of the perspective, it looks like they're inward.
Oh, I see what you mean now. Yeah, that's a really good catch on that because I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
even think about
It
that.
had me fooled for a second. I'm like, how did they do that? And it's the optical illusion.
Yeah, it's
That is
kind of like the whole thing of is it a duck or is it a rabbit? And then you're like, oh, it's clearly a duck, and somebody else will be like, oh no, that's a rabbit, and then you're like, oh, I can see that, you know. Um, that is really cool though, how it kind of gave that illusion of it. Um, and let's
Anyway,
Yeah, let's just look at the area of this coaster. And this is
oh my
why,
god.
yeah. And you know what? They don't have a covering for their station, but it totally works.
Right, kids coasters don't always have coded covers
Yeah.
for the station. Blah, blah, blah.
But it
Love the
especially,
airtime hills with
oh
the
yeah.
bikini bottom houses.
Mm-hmm. But it's like it really works here because you still feel like you're underwater and Bikini Bottom, obviously, and so this is just amazing. So we're actually gonna stay here while we ride this coaster since it's, just you know what, let's
Do
ride
a
and look.
chase. Go
Yeah,
look forward. All right.
yeah. The only thing with Chase is you can't actually turn the camera, which is the negative thing. So I wanted to be able to turn the camera if we need to kind of see SpongeBob and stuff. Oops, there we
Oh.
go. Yeah, that was my fault.
This is such a good layout for a kids coaster.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, under the bridge. Oh,
Uh,
the airtime hills.
yeah.
Look out like Cosmos curves at Knoebels. The
Yeah. Gosh,
looked
this was
at
so well done.
the mini treble clef. Look out, Fury. It's
Mm-hmm.
got competition.
What's amazing too is they got two trains on here.
Oh my,
S-
that is timed so perfectly.
Oh my gosh,
It's
yes.
timed so that it's just timed so that by the time all of the guests are on the coaster, the next train is going by.
Yeah, it's crazy because I think this has to be the block section here. Um,
Hmm.
would be my guess. I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense. Obviously, like it's not made from that realistic standpoint of how long it is and so forth, but at the same point, it's made to allow obviously a much larger ride capacity. Because I mean, look how long this line was. I mean, everybody wants to ride this ride, adults and kids alike.
Everybody
So.
wants to ride the triangle.
Yeah. But this was just amazing. So I figured this would be an area that you'd like a lot.
I'm
Really
a
well
big
done.
fan.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, and it looks like at some point, I mean, this is just so cool. So well done. Then there's a mini SpongeBob. Um,
That is so cool.
but look
That
here.
is a, that
Oh,
is
go
such a
ahead.
good area.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
go ahead.
that's.
Go ahead.
I was just
Just
saying we got part three coming at
oh,
some point. This gets me excited for whenever part three comes, in the next 4 to 5 months, maybe. But either way, that's going to be awesome. So,
right
oh, we got,
away the bridge going over this cascade with the drop in the middle of it looks incredible with the rock
mm-hmm.
work.
And the rock work, and then using the, whatever these are, I'm forgetting the name. Log. It's just funny when it says log
A,
hole, and I know
a
it's like hole
manually
meaning
made
like a hole.
log bridge.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Seeing the Cascade Coaster come up through the mountains like that. You've
The
got the
lighthouse.
lighthouse. Yeah, I mean, this really gives me like it's not even necessarily just Jaws, but kind of that northeastern kind of vibe with the building style. There you go. So this definitely is supposed to be Jaws Amity Boat Tours, or yeah, boat tours. So we're not actually. Or I guess this is the Cascade Coaster. Yeah, I was thinking for a second when I saw the coast that in the water again that it was one of these. Oh, this is actually the boat tour. Okay,
There
so
are
this.
multiple.
Yeah, there are multiple rides here. Um, so there we
For the
go.
sake of time, maybe we won't ride that one.
Yeah,
Just as it just kind of goes around that area, but I do want to ride this cascade attraction.
absolutely. And I don't want to miss any of the theming with it. Oh my gosh, it looks like there's a restaurant. Is
The
this a?
it it's the coaster is
Uh,
supported by the logs.
wait. Oh my gosh, I just didn't even notice that. That's insane. Wow, that's really cool to where it looks like that's something that can naturally actually happen. Um, even though like you wouldn't necessarily see that, but it's really cool. Good gosh, like how does all the rides that are created by this creator just the lines are so long. Um, it's really really cool. So
I
just for
love
the
this boardwalk queue.
yeah, really well done too, and they're able to somewhat hide or mask the fact that like I that's one issue I have with the game is why can we not remove the curbs on elevated paths? Like I don't understand why the curbs have to be there. Um, but once again, you got a long station, but look at all the detailing here um, of really just kind of making it, kind of masking the fact of how long the station is. So well done. So let's go ahead and take a ride on Jaws the Ride. All right, so that was just the Jaws ride, and as you can see, I wanted to take a look at nighttime here, and I know you mentioned kind of once we stopped the recording, just how cool this station looked, kind of lit up. And so, what are your thoughts of the Cascade coaster as well, and kind of this whole station vibe?
I think I would like this more than the real Jaws ride, honestly. Just
Yeah.
because it's got that indoor section, and you can mess with the lighting however you want. The shark animatronics were great, and I love the drop there with the airtime hill at the end that goes underneath the
Mm-hmm.
bridges.
Yeah, that's
I
a
just
really
think
cool vibe.
that was a great balance between theming and thrilling coaster, and just the slow water section at the end that lets you
Yeah.
get the really good views.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you're visiting a theme park and you're trying to go from ride to ride, you forget to slow down and look at everything. So parts of the
Mm-hmm.
rides that slow down like that really let you have a moment to slow down and look at everything.
Yeah, and just the lighting's really good too. Like it's maybe a little bit brighter in some areas. Like I think they did a good job of having the lighting in like the path areas not be too crazy. But then like you look at the buildings and it's or up there kind of on the hill and they're kind of overlit, but it's in a way that kind of really shows off just kind of the really good design and build.
Well,
Um,
it's meant to be overlit because that's where the guests are supposed to walk. They
yeah,
want you to be looking at it and be like, "Oh, look at that building. Let's walk over there."
yeah, that's a good point. Really, really well done. And so let's
Oh,
go
I love
back.
the placement of the Ferris wheel there.
Let me see. Oh, right there. Yeah, it gives a good vibe.
It's a good sight line. I love the beaches. Oh, with
Mm-hmm.
the umbrellas right there.
Yeah,
I just
really.
love this area. It's just so well put together, and there's so much interaction between the different rides and paths.
Absolutely. Well, and I think what's really cool about this, and we're about to walk through this. It's a horror maze. The hills have eyes. So I'll be trying to listen to see if I have to need to add in any audio or something. But obviously, this is not accessible by the guest. I think he put a path here, but I don't know if any of the guests ever walked through. Um, what I was going to say real quick about this part compared to the other one is that I think it's so cool about it is the themes are so different. right? That it's just it really is unique and shows off the skill that this creator has. Um, but yeah, have you seen The Hills Have Eyes? Because it's been
I have
years since
not.
I've seen that. Okay.
I am not. I am very unseasoned when it comes to horror.
Yeah, that's how Jasmine is. So I've been trying to get her to watch it. She watched half of it too with me and was like, "Oh, it's not that bad." Then I'm like, "You can watch the first one with me." And she's like, "No." um, but yeah, so we might not get some of the references here, but it's still a really cool kind of walkthrough experience. Oh, I just noticed. Look at that kind of lighting behind. That kind of red
It looks like a
lighting.
sunset.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's really
That's
cool.
cool.
Yeah, this is cool. Um,
Ooh.
yeah,
Someone got pickaxed.
yeah,
Don't.
and
If you're under 18, look away.
yep. But it is cool, kind of using different pieces. Like that's just cool seeing the cars kind of.
Usually, I would be against dimly lit scenes like that, but if since it's a horror maze, it's kind of the
Hmm.
point
Yeah,
because you don't know what's going to be around the next corner.
for sure. And
Unless, of
then
course, it's bright red, and then you kind of have an idea that something bad's about to happen. Oh,
some
that's not.
somebody being
He's
burned at the stake,
burned at the stake. Oh, that is.
and it looks like
You
one
know,
of the employees. I'm just kidding.
oh, oh man, workers' compensation.
Yeah, know what were you saying? Were you saying something before?
No, 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 no.
Oh, okay.
I have finished my thought.
Now this is cool though, and
I
just
I
the
love the
amount of
wooden
rocks.
beams supporting the mine shaft. I think that's a cool detail
Yeah, I was just
that
thinking that as well.
I always forget to do that. I should do that for my Western Park with my mine train
Yeah,
coasters.
and then we thought there were a lot of rocks on the Batman ride. This is like a whole nother level of rocks.
Yeah, and it's so much. It is way better done here. They don't look
Yeah,
repetitive at all. It looks so natural.
for sure.
Oh,
Oh my gosh, this is like, oh, there's dripping. What? Oh, that is gruesome. Where's the door that we go through? I'm guessing this way. Okay. I was not expecting that. That got
no, I was
gruesome
not.
quick. I didn't even know there
That
was
was
a.
cool.
Yeah, that's a cool kind of little experience. Just um, yeah, really enjoyed that. Even though I probably
Made
didn't
for
get any of the
the
references.
no. But I did think it was very cool. Oh, they have a
Hmm.
little restaurant there. I think that's cool.
And I
I feel
like
like
to.
every Planet Coaster theme park should have at least one restaurant.
Yeah. I just don't really know how to really work them well to where so I think that's one thing I need to do in my new park is add in a hotel and just kind of have it try to work with that. But one thing I like here too is yeah, it's cutting off their ankles, but you know, from afar it looks like it's like you got these steps and I like how these steps look right here. Like this is a really cool kind of unique look to it.
Ultimately, I don't think it matters. Like the game is not very compensating when it comes to making scenery actually tangible to the guests.
Yeah.
So I can't fault the creator for that.
No, yeah. I mean, I always try to keep it as low as possible, but you know, there's sometimes with what you're trying to do, you just
Yeah.
can't do anything else. So let's go back to daytime for this. Let me see. So I want to see kind of this whole area in the daytime. It looks really cool. I mean, these look like some really cool kind of like beach house style buildings. Oh, Hunger Games.
Uh-oh. I'm not gonna get any references for that.
Me neither because I only saw the first one and that was when it came out, so that was years ago. So yeah, I do know the District 12, I think is what it is. Yeah. Building a better tomorrow.
Now this is
Okay.
already so different
Oh my
from the
gosh.
Jaws area.
Now
Wow.
I do know the building style here. Look, this looks like it does in the movie. Um, just a gosh, it always just amazes me how people are able to do such a good job, like kind of recreating stuff that the game was not meant to build. You know. Um, then we got the ride skin there for this amazing whatever that ride's called. Gosh, that looks cool. Rebellion Bullet Train. I'm guessing that's the name of the coaster. because I don't see anything else in this area. Uh, District 13. I mean, just little things like having this whole area here, like that is.
That looks
So,
good.
so I mean, the coaster's going above it. Like that is such a cool little touch and vibe. Not to give anything away, and just so
It
much
is.
detail.
It is not that hard to have your queue interact with the coaster, but
Yeah,
it just makes all the more difference to get your riders exciting. That guy really has to pee.
I know it's amazing in this game how many people have to pee and they're about to go on a roller coaster, or much less
Why'd you
wait
get
in
in
line.
line?
Yeah, that is
Wow,
uh,
that looks
um,
awesome.
a lot of pipes.
This part reminds me of Alien,
Oh yeah, definitely. I definitely get that
with the
vibe.
red lights flashing in the pipes and the black.
All right, so
I'm relating it to as many things as I can because I've never seen Hunger Games.
hey, there's no problem with that. I think the lighting there is really cool too, and just having the kind of red strobe lights, or not necessarily strobe lights, whatever those are called. Good
The
gosh, man,
police
this queue.
lights.
Yeah, this queue is insane, and then this station is awesome. Having the missiles.
Looks dangerous.
Yes, it does, but this is awesome. Uh, all right, Eric. So, what are your thoughts about the coaster and kind of what stood out to you?
Well, I said that the Hollywood ride in the last park was my favorite. This one beats that. This is such a good layout for a flying coaster. My only nitpick is that turn right there. How it starts banking before the inversion is a little weird to me, but otherwise
Yeah.
this coaster was so smooth. It had lots of inversions. It had airtime. It had the landscaping. It had the indoor sections.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a lot longer than I expected because honestly, after that first airtime hill, when I saw it going into the building, I thought the ride was going to be over.
Me too.
But then it, but then it came through and did those bank turns and came out the other side and it had the extra inversion and it went through the rocks and with the scene right here with the tank and the fire and it had the fly to lie element there at the end and
Yeah.
it just
Yeah.
I think that there could be more detail on the outside of the building, but I that was such a good coaster. I think that was the standout thrill coaster of these parks.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with everything you said. I think this inversion, um, I think it could have been smoothed a little bit more, and I think it was. I think it's with how the banking was. I think right here because it's like not really banked too much, and then it starts banking out more when usually it's kind of the other way around.
Right.
But I think one thing you mentioned as we're riding the coaster is like how cool this first drop was because I mean you're like hanging there, which is really realistic if you're in the front row for inverts or flying coasters where it's just like
And
it feels like you
you're gonna be sitting there for a little bit waiting for the rest of the train to catch up.
yeah, for sure. And so I think this is the one, but you can kind of see too how this inversion kind of looks right there where it kind of has this little I guess I could see it more from another area. Just how it looks when it gets to the top there, right? And so actually it's not even did it invert? Okay, yeah, it did invert. But I guess it started inverting before it reached its height.
Apex.
Its apex, yeah. There you go, the correct term. Um, but no, I think it was fantastic, and I think the indoor section was absolutely amazing. Like these two airtime hills, which you normally don't see on these type of coasters, I feel like were just so well done, super smooth. And then
Very
if I
well
can ever,
placed.
and then if I can ever find the airtime section at the end, it's right here, I think. Oh yeah, this part too, because it turned to the trigger was at nighttime, and so now you can't really see what's going on. And then
Yeah,
this is
I
where
didn't
you're
know.
going above the path.
That was the point in the ride where I lost track of which way was up, and I thought that was a cool effect.
Yeah, really, really super cool. So now that we can kind of wrap up the spotlight in the parks, Eric, I really, really appreciate you joining me for this park tour. We'll definitely have to do more of them in the future. But
Of
what kind of
course, of
stood out to
course.
you? I'm guessing you like this
Um,
park more.
I liked the other park a lot. I was not a fan of the Batman ride, and although I liked the Minions ride, I am not necessarily a Minions fan. So
Yeah.
to see to see this park where with especially with the SpongeBob area and the Jaws and how those areas fit together really nicely because they're both nautical, and then the juxtaposition with the Hunger Games area on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
I like this park a lot more. I think the rock work and the building style and just the layout and the ease
Mm-hmm.
of the guests walking around in this park was a lot better. This
For sure.
I thought this park was incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing. I have to agree with you. I mean, I absolutely love Minions. I thought that Minions coaster was probably my well, I guess I did like the Rip Rocket ride and then this flying coaster, but the Minions ride was like you said, it was the best of those kind of Gerstlauer spinning coasters. I believe that's
For
the
sure.
yeah, I guess that I
It
think
is
that's the
actually
go
it's
ahead.
actually Maurer.
Mauer, okay, because I know Gerstlauer does make a spinning, but I always kind of get those confused. But yeah,
The easy way to remember it is that the Gerstlauer spinning coasters they face inwards. The Maurer ones
oh,
face outwards.
okay, that makes sense. But one thing I wanted to point out here too is for those people who, a lot of people who build in this game a lot kind of understand this concept or know theme parks a lot. But for people who are kind of wondering with just the massive size of this building, it's just really cool how when you're down at peak view, like it looks like the entire kind of you can't even see where the inside section of the rides are. But then when you look from
That is
above, you really
that
see
is so
how
well done.
massive.
That
Hmm.
is so well done because I didn't even know that that was a huge ride building until you pointed it out.
Yeah,
It
I
is
mean
so well hidden.
this is the walkthrough section, the walkthrough area, along with the that Cascade coaster in here. But it's like this is what you see in real life. If you go onto Google Maps and look at Disney and go to Animal Kingdom, um, this is the front portion of the Pandora world, and then this is the back portion and top portion that only the maintenance workers see. Like it's just really, really well done from that realism standpoint, where it's like saving cost and money and so forth. But yeah, I agree with you. I think this park overall has done better, and it gets me really excited to potentially see if this creator makes a third part, what that would look like.
And the DreamWorks indoor park.
Oh yeah, yeah. I gotta see if I can find that. If that would be That'd be awesome to look at. So any final thoughts, Eric, before we um, before we say bye to everybody?
Um, Amazing theming, and above all, this creator is clearly very good at rock work and very very good at making smooth coasters. And I
Yes.
am extremely impressed um, with how the theming and the coasters improved from one park to the next.
Yeah, totally agree. All right, guys. Well, thank you all so much for watching. Also, I forgot to mention at the beginning too. Eric has a YouTube channel. So, what's your name of your YouTube channel again, Eric? Because I always seem to
My
like mispronounce your last name.
my YouTube channel is Eric Besty. That's EricBesty. I'm sure I will comment on this video and I'll be in the description, so you should just be able to click on me.
Yeah.
Um, I do. I usually just do little videos for my parks without voiceover, but I did just get a new microphone, so I might actually start doing them with voice now. So I'm a pretty slow builder, so if you subscribe to me, don't worry about me filling your sub box. I will just be uploading whenever I get to it, whenever I get to finishing it, because I do work. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I'm really glad I was able to have the time to do this with you, Michael. I was counting down the days to for this spotlight because I just loved looking at everything with you and bouncing off and being able to be featured with this and look at this creator and the amazing things that they've made.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Well, I appreciate you so much. So, as I said, make sure to hit the like button to go subscribe to Eric's channel and make sure to check out his creations on the workshop. And I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your day.